Welcome to EPG Pathsala. I am Kamlesh Kumar from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. I am going to tell you about a module on rights of accused. Structure, two different modes, due process model followed India, rights of accused under Indian legal system, initiation by judiciary and National Human Rights Commission bodies, contemporary challenges, role of NGOs and civil society, summary and further readings. Introduction. The right of accused in the criminal justice jurisprudence has emerged from modern liberal thought of crime and punishment. The idea is behind to humanize justice process exists in many parts of the world including Indian criminal justice system. The rationale is that when it is well established thought that criminals are product of multiple crime causative factors, then provide them an opportunity to presume innocent until guilt is proved beyond reasonable doubt. Consequently, the accused, suspect and sentenced person have certain human rights in the pre-trial and trial stages of criminal justice system. The rights of accused has become multidisciplinary area concerned with criminology, penology, human rights, sociology, political science and law. Crime control model versus due process model. How, why and when crime is recorded and offenders identified and processed through the criminal justice system may depend in largely on the processing strategy that attach to the prevailing legal tradition or system in country. These practices may not be related to particular legal system in general. The choice of processing strategy which may be linked to the country's legal tradition can be categorized as falling into the inquisitorial and adversarial criminal justice system around the world. The adversarial criminal justice system is followed in India, which is based on due process model. In this context, the civil law tradition and its inquisitorial process seems to have a particular link to the crime control model prevailing in France, West Germany and the Latin American countries. This contrasts in common law tradition and its adversarial process appear to follow the due process model prevailed in the UK, USA and Australia and India and other countries also. In fact, these two different models used to process people through criminal justice systems are one that emphasize either the efficiency of action or the legitimacy of action, so called. The former is a crime control model and the latter called due process model. The crime control model, which assumes that freedom is so important that every effort must be made to repress crime. The due process model, on the other hand, assumes that freedom is so important that every effort must be made to ensure that criminal justice decisions are based on reliable information. In this way, both models seeks to guarantee social freedom. One does so by emphasizing efficient processing of wrongdoers, crime control model, while the other emphasizes invasion in a citizen's life, due process model. The greatest threat to freedom, says the crime control model, is the criminal trying to harm us. For the due process model, the greatest threat to freedom of government agents like police officers who are trying to restrict our freedom of movement. Of course, social freedom requires law-abiding citizens to be free from unjustifiable institution by either criminals or by the police. However, it seems that nation states have a hard time to achieving both goals simultaneously. One is emphasize that the expense of the other, but the neither can be identified as qualitative better. Under the crime control model, the most important function served by the criminal justice system is to ensure human freedom by allowing citizens to secure in the person and property from the action of criminals. To operate successfully, the model requires a high rate of apprehension and convictions following a process that emphasizes speed and finality. It is an administrative, almost managerial model. It is emphasized on speed and finality might mean that the innocent people are rushed through the system without recourse. The crime control model or the inquisitorial process excludes as an early stage person apprehended but not likely to be guilty. This model has confidence in the quality of police to identify and release the probably innocent suspect by ascertaining action against the probably guilty. 1. The civil law tradition follows the crime control model in sense that its inquisitorial process relying on screening techniques to weed out suspects who are likely innocent while processing with the speed and finality those who are likely guilty. In due process model followed in India and other country in emphasizing on the legitimacy of the action, the due process model requires many checks on the use of official power. This model insists on formal fact finding process that results in a more deliberate movement through the criminal justice system, especially by the police. The due process model seeks the truth regarding the accuser's involvement in the offense. Unlike the crime control model used in inquisitorial countries, process to detect the truth by emphasizing the screening process and continuing to investigate the matter, even into the trial until the truth is known, while the due process model believes that truth to arise from the free and open competition over who has the correct fact. The struggle is between the state and the defendant. Operating as adversaries, this contrast with inquisitorial process views of the state and the defendant as equal parties seeking a similar truth. As the system followed in India for dispensation of criminal justice is the adversarial system inherited from the British colonial rulers based on common law system. The system presumes that an accused is to be innocent and the burden is on the prosecution to prove beyond reasonable doubt that he or she is guilty. The foundation of accusatorial is the investigation by the police and ascertain the facts and circumstances relevant to crime and to collect the evidence, oral or circumstantial, to prove the case in court of law, hence making the balance between huge powers enjoyed by police authority as well as ensuring the freedom of accused until guilty proved. The constitutionally guaranteed fundamental rights are providing fair, reasonable and justify action by the law enforcement agency. The rights of accused under Indian legal system. The Constitution is its part 3rd deals with fundamental rights. The fundamental rights guarantee the rights of accused prisoners in democratic setup and follow the procedure established by law. Article 14, 15, 20, 21 and 22 of the constitutions are directly relevant to the criminal process. The following rights are related to accused in criminal justice processes, such as pre-trial detention and trial proceedings. Right to innocence, rights of equality and equal protection of law, rights against ex post facto operation of law, right against dual jeopardy, right against self incrimination, rights against illegal arrest and detention, right to know ground of arrest, right to inform family and friends, right to legal defense, right against torture and other inhuman treatment and to medical examination, right to access to justice and speedy justice including right to bail, right to remedies. First right of accused is right to presume innocence, presumption of innocence and the duty of the prosecution to prove guilty to the person accused of an offence. The golden thread in criminal law jurisprudence, this the guidelines that bail be the general rule and jail an exception is the logical and consistent principle of presumption of innocence to pre-trial stage. The principle is enshrined in Article 11, Clause 1, Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, Article 6, Subclause 2 of the European Convention on Human Rights, thereafter ECHR, Article 48, Subclause 1 of the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union, thereafter EU Charter and Right Rule 111 of the United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for the treatment to the prisoners, also known as the Nelson Mandela Rules. Even in India, the accused has several rights guaranteed to the Constitution of India and relevant laws. They have been liberally extended by the decision of Supreme Court, High Courts. To the accused has the right to know about all the rights he has, how to enforce them and whom to be approached when there is a denial of these rights, what are the authorities. One of the basic tenets of our legal system is the benefit of presumption of innocence of accused till he is guilty at the end of the trial on legal evidence. In a democratic society, even the rights of accused are sacrosanct. Though accused of an offence, he does not become a non-person. The rights of accused include the rights of the accused at the time of arrest, at the time of search and during seizure, the process of pre-trial and trial to the end of justice, right to equality and equal protection of law. Article 14 in the operation from the Constitution says that the state shall not be deny any person equality before the law or equal protection of law within the territory of India, even the person is accused of any offense. It contains the principle of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, also says that all the equal protection before the law and our entitlement without discrimination to the equal protection of law. Right against ex post facto operation of the law, Article 20 subclause 1 prohibits that retrospective operation of penal legislation. It means that no person shall be convicted of any offence except for the violation of law in force at the time of commission of the act charged as an offence, nor be subjected to any penalty greater than that which might have been inflicted under law in force at the time of commission of the offence. Right against double jeopardy, Article 20 subclause 2 guards against double action of for the same offence. It means that no person shall be prosecuted and punished for the same offence more than once. Right against self-incrimination, Article 20 subclause 3 provides protection that no person being accused of any offence shall be compelled to the witness against himself. Of course, Constitution article protect against self-testimony. Compulsion also no on premise that such compulsion may act as a subtle form of coercion of the accused. No person being an accused of any offence shall be compelled to be a witness against himself or herself. Right to know ground of arrest, Article 22 of the Constitution is also relevant for the present purpose because one of its objective is to ensure that certain checks and balance exist in the law to prevent abuse of power of arrest and detention. In this direction, Article 22 subclause 1 provides that no person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without being informed as soon as may be or the ground for such arrest, nor shall be of the ground for the such arrest, nor shall be denied the right to consult and to defend it by legal practitioner of his or her choice. Article 22 subclause 2 provides that every person who is arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before the nearest magistrates within a period of 24 hours of such arrest, excluding the time necessary for the journey from the place of arrest to the court of magistrate. And such person shall be detained in custody beyond the said period without the authority of magistrate. The Indian Criminal Procedure Code 1973 under section 50 subclause 1 related right to know the ground of arrest. Arrested person has full right to know the ground of arrest. Every police officer or other person arrested, any accused, any person without warrant shall be forthwith communicate to him full particulars of the offences for which his arrest or other ground of such arrest. Right to liberty, security and freedom from arbitrary detention. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948 has global significance, providing the legal rights or human rights to the accused, followed by International Covenants on Civil and Political Rights ICCPR 1966 in Article 9 subclause 1 chooses the fundamental right to the liberty, security and protection against arbitrary detention. By virtue of these fundamental rights, to the state is placed under an obligation to protect and preserve the liberty and security of citizens against arbitrary arrest and detention. In order for the detention to be lawful and not arbitrary, it must be consistent with law. Means substantive rules of nation of or international laws as well as the principle and guidelines preserving fundamental rights. The police figure as entry 2 in the state list under the 7th schedule of the Constitution of India, thereby making state government primarily responsible for maintaining public order. Invariably, police, which is a part of civil administration, is at the forefront of maintaining law and order under the framework of constitutional governance. Based on principle of sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic to secure fundamental rights of the citizens. In reality, the way police treat people actually reflects on the governance towards its citizens in state custody. However, there are many violations of human rights taking place against a person in the police custody. A large number of data and figures compiled and recorded by National Human Rights Commission and National Crime Records Bureau related with the illegal detentions and custodial abuse by the police in their custody. The legal action also accordingly taken place against police in two parts: major punishment and minor punishment. Major punishment, the many police officers were sent for jails, and minor punishments awarded by the authority against police personnel through departmental actions. And these human rights related with illegal detention, fake encounters, extortion cases, and other police high-handedness. Rights against torture and other inhuman treatment. Also provided in the Constitution of India that no person shall be deprived of life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law. The expression of life and personal liberty occurring in the article has been interpreted to include a constitutional guarantee against torture, assault, or injury against a person. Right to life and personal liberty are the basic rights provided to citizens, including accused and suspected persons under the Constitution of India. Rights of life including right against torture and illegal detention. These also include the liberty of an accused to choosing the choice of his legal assistance or lawyer. While choosing the right, the accused has freedom to take his legal advice of his or her choice. In this regard, the government of India has launched many innovative schemes to reach out to the poor and marginalized vulnerable persons in the custody of state and to provide them legal representation in the court of law. National, state and state legal service authorities are also working in this direction. Even in the district legal service authority and block legal service committees have engaged towards realization of mission with the support of legal professions, advocates and lawyers, including the paralegal workers, to examine by the medical practitioners, right to examine by medical practitioner of doctors. In a post-arrest procedure under section 51C, says that medical examination of the accused after arrest to facilitate an effective investigation provision has been authorizing a medical examination of the arrested persons by a medical practitioner. If from the nature of alleged offense or the circumstances under which it was alleged to have been committed, there is a reasonable ground for believing that an examination of the person will afford evidence. Section 53 empowers senior police officers to compel the accused person in custody to submit to the medical examination. Section 54, when any person is arrested, he shall be examined by a medical officer in the service of central or state governments. In case of medical officer is not available by a registered medical practitioner soon after the arrest is made, provided that where the arrested person is a female, the examination of the body of the female shall be made only by the or unless the supervision of a female medical officer or female registered medical practitioner. The newly inserted section 53A in the Code of Criminal Procedure Code 1973 empowers investigation office agency to compel medical practitioner to help it to the person arrested of rape examination, and this should be done by promptly. The subsection 2 spell out the particulars to be furnished in the report therein, the name and address of accused and the person whom he or she was brought, the age of accused, mode of inquiry, if any, or the person of accused, the description of medical taken from the person of accused for DNA test and making the other medical or material particulars in the reasonable detail. The reason for each conclusion arrives at the practitioner the time of comment and completion of the examination. Right to non-discrimination in bail. The legal maxim of bail not jail yet to be realized in our country. Many under trials are waiting for their turn to get bail, but they have failed to furnish cash or surety as conditioned by the authority under the Indian Constitution. The rule of law perceived as an indispensable tool to avoid discrimination and arbitrary use of force. The present system of bail is heavily influenced by the economic status and discriminates against the underprivileged people, those who are languishing behind the jail. Their illiterate judicial system seems to have evolved two approaches to bail as a right for the financially able. For rest, bail is dependent on the judicial discretion exercised through manipulation amount of reasonable bail that will be required, often the criteria for setting bail. Bail amount also heavy burden on the accused, those who are poor and not done any crime committed by intentions, they are victims of circumstances. Due to economic burden, they are unable to pay the bail amount and they are languishing behind the jail. In this regard, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights also says that every person is entitled to all rights and freedom, including the right to bail. ICCPR also supports the same and further obligates each state's party to respect and ensure all persons within its jurisdiction the grant to bail on economic condition, monetary surety, violates Article 14 and 15 of the Constitution of India and runs contrary to the constitutional ethos. Generally, in bailable offences, the accused has right to bail, not jail, and in non-bailable cases, the discretion of the judge prevailed over the right of accused. Thus, the every preliminary stage information regarding the right to be released on bail, Section 50, Subclause 2 of Criminal Procedure Code provides that where a police officer arrests with warrants any person other than a person of accused of a non-bailable cases, he shall be informed the person arrested that he is entitled to release on bail and that is he may arrange for surety on his behalf. However, it is hardly taken place at the police station level because the police are reluctant to provide the right to bail to the accused at police station level, although they have full authority to grant the bail at police station level. Right to speedy fair trial. The right to speedy fair trial in criminal prosecution cases is inalienable rights under Article 21 of the Constitution. The Supreme Court of India has also maintained as a fundamental right of accused. In a leading case of Husainara Khatun versus Home Secretary of Bihar, the Supreme Court has realized the right to speedy trial is a fundamental right of accused in the state custody. Over a period of time, National Human Rights Commission and judicial system of our country have initiated many programs and schemes to reach out the right to speedy justice. The criminal justice system, including police prosecution, court and correction, they have also working under the constitutional framework which provides Article 32 and Article 226 as a right to remedy. The Supreme Courts and High Courts of India, many cases, they have provided right to remedy and right to compensation those who are victims of state action or inactions against the accused. There are also provisions in our Constitution of India to issue a writ in fundamental human rights cases by the High Courts and Supreme Courts of India. Through writs, the right to compensation was upheld in many cases related with human rights of accused. The Supreme Courts and High Courts of India not only interpreting the Constitution of India but also the UN Convention, covenants and other treaties while taking into consideration the human rights of person in the custody. For example, in 1997, India is a signatory country to the UN Convention against Torture, not yet ratified. The various forms of torture and its practice is still prevalent as a violation of human rights and totally prohibited in the law. In the leading case of D.K. Vasu versus State of West Bengal, ARI 1997, it has evolved the concept of custodial jurisprudence, including police reforms, custodial management, and victims' compensation rights in the cases of custodial torture and rehabilitation to the kin and kiths of deceased person in the police custody. Since last 2 decades have passed, another system of quasi-judicial called as a human rights system has evolved through the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993 in the country, and as a result Many states human rights commissions at the state level and National Human Rights Commission at the national level have been working for the promotion and protection of human rights, including rights of the accused in the custody. So these approaches, judicial and quasi-judicial, proved inexpensive, speedy, and easy to justice to the person who are in the custody. And they, by one way or other, became the victims of state high-handedness or its agents like police who are having the vital power used for public purpose and misused for their individual benefits and became the accused of state criminality. As far as concerned the torture in police custody, the victims not only have right to compensation but also have a right to rehabilitation, which is recognized by both the judicial and quasi-judicial system. In a leading case of Rakesh Beach that was related with custodial torture dealt by National Human Rights Commission, and it was found that the police was involved in torturing the victims, and not only police but also medical officers, those who have furnished the false reports in examination of victims were liable by the NHRC for their gruesome act or illegal practices in favor of police. So through this case, the police were also under the laws and legal proceedings took place against them. And other way around or other hand, the victims were given compensation and right to rehabilitation. And illegal action also initiated against medical officers, those who have given false evidence. In almost all the areas of accused right, the commissions over a period of time have made observation that police unnecessary or unjustified making arrest and detention, and those who are victims, generally they are the weaker section of the people or marginalized section of the society they belong. Although they have full right to get bail at the police station level, but they are unable to do so because of financial and other circumstances. The judiciary has taken initiative to display the rights of accused at every police station level, so the people, general and the people in the custody, they should know their human rights may be protected at the police station level. But Action Aid, a humanitarian agency, has conducted a study and they found that most of the time the rights of accused were not displayed at the police station level for various reasons. So the role of NGOs, civil society and individuals became very significant in terms of providing legal aid to the person in custody and ensuring the rights of accused. The NGO can take up social cause for fact finding and establishing truth for their advocacy, maybe for litigation, pre-litigation phases, as case may be. Other than national and state human rights commission, there are other parallel bodies like scheduled caste commissions, women's commission, and child commissions. Those who are working for rights of minority and weaker section of society, those who are most of the time victims of police atrocities. Not only institutions and organization, but also civil society can protect the rights of the people in their custody. In sum, I can say that India is followed of accusatorial system where the police and prosecution have to decide the guilt of accused suspect through the justice process beyond reasonable doubt. In this context, the law of land has provided certain rights to the accused and presumed innocent until guilty proved beyond reasonable doubts. The significant provisions containing in our Constitution of India which safeguards an accused in police custody, post custody, meant court trial and give him an equal chance to protect his or her rights and interests against almighty power of the state. The rights of the accused has been protected by the judiciary in various its creative and progressive interpretation of law. However, a system of human rights body has also supplemented with a speedy and cost-effective redressal of justice to the accused over a period of time. In democratic country like India, the non-government organizations and civil society participation in the protection movements of rights of accused can make a difference in social life. Thank you very much for watching this video.